guys, it's your friend Maria here, and I want to welcome you guys to the channel. If it's your first time with me, I want to welcome you guys to open up your minds, because the more you evolve, the more your world evolves. And if you've been with me before, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel or for coming back, and make sure to look forward to much more content. And I really hope you enjoy this video on habits. So let's get started. The definition of success by Earl Nightingale is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now in that, are your habits currently keeping you a success or keeping you further away from your worthy ideal? Because your life and my life is a product of our moment-to-moment choices, because we all first make our habits, and then eventually over time our habits make us. So in that, what I first want to talk about with you guys is the law of sowing and reaping. Because a law is something that's always working, whether or not you know about it, if you ignore it, if you're working against it, you're working with it, it's always happening. So essentially, the law of sowing and reaping. Whatever you sow, so shall you reap. And eventually, you'll end up reaping much more than you initially sowed, whether or not it's positive or it's negative. I recently started growing some tomatoes, and so I was thinking about this principle as I was growing it. And so with the tomatoes, when I'm planting the tomato seeds for it to grow into its truest and purest form later on, to grow an abundance of tomatoes. That's the ultimate goal when growing these tomatoes. So when you're first growing the tomatoes, you have to think, okay, what soil and fertilizer do I need for it to grow? How much water does it need? Am I watering it too much? Is it dehydrated? How much sunlight does it need? I'm not just looking at it from when I first get the tomatoes and then wait for all the tomatoes to come, but to keep on sowing and keep maintaining and taking care of the tomatoes until it grows abundantly and I see a whole bunch of tomatoes like in a few months, which it did. I saw like there were 5 tomatoes in my garden. But what specialized maintenance and guidance does this tomato need to grow into what it's meant to be? When you look at the final product of tomato, and you see that it dies or it gets sick and there are diseases, are you going to blame the tomato for dying or getting a disease? Or are you going to blame the person who sowed it? What you sow and what you put in over time is what you will reap. So what you put into something is what you'll get out of something. But part of the sowing and reaping process, which we'll get into how it applies to our habits, it takes small, simple choices and actions repeated over time to then reap the great results, either positive or negative, in our life. So I had to do the little tasks of taking care of the tomato, watering it, weeding, so that none of the nourishment the tomatoes were supposed to get were being taken away from the weeds. So simply put, the law of sowing and reaping, what you sow, so shall you reap. So what you put in is what you get out of something. And this applies in every area of your life, whether or not you know about it or not. And it's funny to think how it was working in my life and I didn't even know about it before. Eating too many brownies and that compounding over time or things like that. This law applies to every choice and decision we make every day of our lives. Even the smallest thing you wouldn't even think had that much impact in your life. What are you feeding your mind to produce the life that you have right now? So for this video, I want to talk a bit about habits and how they shape and transform our lives. Little things you wouldn't even think about. I want you guys to think about, what habits do you currently have that are producing the results in your life right now? Because we are what we repeatedly do. Today I want to talk to you guys about actually a book that I read that transformed my life in understanding habits. And so the book is actually called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And this book talks about to jumpstart your income, your life, your success here. And actually you can check the link in the description to get the book online. And if you actually check the link in the description, you actually support this channel at no extra cost to you. So if you want to see profound changes in your life, and to really see progression and growth in every area of your life, go check out this book. A habit is a repeated behavior that tends to be done unconsciously, or you're not really thinking about it when you're doing it. Like when you go to brush your teeth, you're not thinking about, okay, I have to move it this side or underneath. You already know how to brush your teeth. Unless maybe you use the other hand, you don't habitually use that hand, so you have to think about it a little bit more. Or like when you're walking, you don't have to think about, okay, one foot in front of the other. You just walk, you don't think about it. And so your brain likes to kind of use those cheats and have habits to use that time and energy onto something else. And so essentially how we create habits is very simply that we first make a choice. And then with the choice, we have a behavior, an action that we take. And then from that behavior, we then have a habit where we take repeated action. And then if we continue that habit for a long period of time, there's a compound effect that can either work positively or negatively in your life. So like 2 years ago, I would end up going to Starbucks almost every day to get these brownies, and I get it warmed up, and sometimes like I'd actually get it on I would get it on a plate, and I put like whipped cream on top, and then like caramel drizzle and mocha drizzle. Whew. Oh man. But if I just get that one brownie that one time, okay, it's a single choice. If I repeatedly make the choice to get the brownie more often, okay, in the beginning you won't see as much profound changes in your life or even like your health or your body. But then keeping that habit that I was doing and having it compound over time to where that extra maybe 200 calories each day, if I did it for a year, I would probably gain like 20 pounds just from having a brownie every day like that. So it's like those little things you don't really think about. And it can also work the other way. Let's say if you wanted to lose some weight, right? And so if the big thing that I want to touch on about this is that changing your habits or noticing the power of the compound effect is that it's making small changes. Like if you wanted to lose weight, if you decided to cut out little things in your diet or your lifestyle that aren't that big or profound, like maybe you didn't drink soda that day and you just drank water. You just subtracted those calories at 200 calories. Or maybe you switched out mayo for mustard. It's like those little things you wouldn't really think had that profound change in your life, but it really does. And so it's little things like that that are easy to do, but also easy not to do. That's the big thing to focus on, is it's easy not to repeatedly pay attention to it. Now this compound effect of our habits, just like from the sowing and reaping, can either work for us or against us. And so in the sowing process, you're making a habit to take care of what it is that you're trying to reap and get as a result. Now, what Dr. Harding makes out is like the equation for radical change in our life with the compound effect. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals radical differences. As David Hardy says, to quote, "The repeating of simple daily disciplines versus the simple errors in judgment." It's that simple. With enough time and consistency, the outcomes become visible. Better yet, they are totally predictable, which means you can predict your success. And you can also predict failure if you pay attention to the daily disciplines, to the habits of that individual and what it is that they're trying to achieve. It gets me kind of excited because it's like when you start to understand the little fundamentals of all of this, you start to notice that you're able to take so much control over your life. Just like when we talked about mindset in the other video, we're talking about habits. When you start to educate yourself and understanding the power and the laws of life to take control of your life and change the outcome, that just gets me excited. I don't know about you. That's why I'm talking to you guys today. That is why your actions speak louder than your words. Like if you know another kid that's saying, okay, yeah, I'm doing all my homework, I'm studying for hours, and you don't see the result of them improving in their grades, how are they sowing? How are they studying? Are they really doing their homework? Are they really spending that time studying? Maybe they're watching TV on the side, or they're texting while they're studying. Or if someone says they're eating healthy, they go to the gym, and then they're either maintaining their weight or the health of their body or gaining weight, are they really doing what they're saying? That's why I brought up the definition of success by Earl Nightingale. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal is that you're a success when you're continuously working at progressing at whatever your goal is. So it's not even that you hit that goal, that you are a success, but that all the days and all the time that you spend at progressing at your goal. Like when you see someone that has just gotten their degree from college or high school, whatever it is, they didn't just become a success when they got their degree, but they were a success every day that they decided to do their homework and to study and not take late nights at parties or with their friends or hanging out, but to work to their goal. And then it's just that at the point when they earn their degree that they earn the recognition for all the success. But any first change in our life first starts with awareness. First being aware of your life thus far, that the habits that you have right now, paying attention to those, if it's serving you or if it's not, towards the person you want to be in this world. Once you start becoming conscious of yourself and your actions and your habits, identify the habit that it is that you want to break and what it is that you actually want to exchange it for. So it's not like you're just taking things away from your life. Instead of thinking subtraction, think addition. You'll see a lot of people, you may know yourself or family members or friends, when they first get on a diet or want to eat healthier, they start thinking about all the food that they can't eat anymore. So it's like they don't have anything to eat. But instead of just thinking about what you can't eat, what can you replace that with? So thinking addition, what can I add in my life that will serve me better than what I was doing before? And so with the habit you want to break, like let's say you want to stay off your phone so much, or you don't want to be checking your phone first thing in the morning. First, in order to change the habit, you have to identify the triggers. So if I don't want to be on my phone when I first get in the morning, and I usually plug in my phone right next to my bed, I'm more likely to pick up my phone, right? And so that's something I'm working on right now, is to actually keep my phone on the other side of my room and have it on silent mode from a certain time of the night and a certain time in the morning, so I can focus on if it's work that I want to do or if it's just sleeping throughout the night. So eliminating that trigger. So moving the phone to the other side of the room. You identify the triggers and you eliminate the future occurrences of you repeating that habit. You swap the old habit for a new habit. So instead of maybe spending that first 20 minutes of my morning on social media or checking messages or whatever it is, what if I exchange those 20 minutes meditating? Meditate for the first 20 minutes of your day. Don't look at anything else, just focus inward and you meditate. And so that's actually what I've been doing. I've been focusing on meditation, if it's abundance. And later on we can talk in other videos about meditation and just it can shape your life and how it's been helping me as well, because that's why we have this channel. It's not me preaching or whatever to you guys, but to really share with you what has changed my life and sharing stories of my life about what I did, what I noticed before, and then what I did to change. So that's essentially what it is. We're all just growing together in this world, this thing we call life. And if you think it might help, why don't you try getting an accountability partner or a friend or a family member that can help you along your journey? Or maybe if you're on social media, what if you post your journey and whatever that you're trying to accomplish, if it's reading more, if it's meditating more, if it's and saying, okay, I did it for the day, or had my green smoothie today, or whatever it is, to have that accountability and to celebrate the small victories, because so much we end up focusing on, well, I was already supposed to be doing that. Yeah, maybe you're already supposed to be doing that. Acknowledge that you are making that change in your life to transform your life. And it starts with the little things, and to praise yourself during that time, and that time of transition when it can be difficult to change what you've been doing for so long. When you go to change something about yourself in a way you've always done things, it's not always going to be easy to make that transition, and to always stay consistent in what it is that you're trying to do and the habits you're trying to form. Even before starting and thinking about the new habits you want to create, think about, why do you want to make these habits? Why do you want to change your life? Because it's not always going to be easy. You're not always going to feel like going to the gym. You're not always going to feel like eating healthy, or reading an instructional book every day, or listening to an audio, or drinking your green smoothie. And I'm actually doing like a little smoothie challenge now. I've been drinking smoothies more consistently the past year, but to really be doing it more daily. So when you feel like not continuing, you have to be able to go back to a why that brought you to start in the first place. But in order to continue on with any form of lifestyle and habits that you're trying to form, you have to be able to go by why you even started. Why do I want to change my life? Why do I want to progress my life? And so If you're eating healthy, for some it may be, I want to be able to live long enough to see my grandchildren. You may be like in your teenage years or your 20s right now. But to think far enough that, caring for my health right now, I'll be able to care for my grandchildren down the line. And you may not be thinking about it right now, or even just your children. So your why has to be big enough to carry you through times of trial. The how will become meaningless when your why isn't powerful enough. Darren Hardy from The Compound Effect, he says that the key is to make your why power so strong that it overwhelms your urges for instant gratification. So there's times of temptation where you want to just eat that brownie. Like I had, after work, was kind of low in energy, was seeking some sugar, and I just wanted to have that brownie. And it felt good in the moment, and then I felt a little not so good afterwards. But to remember why you're doing it in the first place, so that when you feel tempted or you feel too tired to keep going, just thinking about your why will motivate you to continue going forward. We were all born, and we all will one day die. I don't know if you're thinking about that now, but you will. I will. We all will. But it's just a matter of what are we going to do with that time in between? How are we going to spend the life that we have been given? But luckily for us, we have the ability to choose what we want to do in between. That is truly liberating when you know that you have the choice to change your life, that you get to choose what you do with your life and how it turns out. It is your choice. So I just encourage you guys to really take some time, maybe, take 15 minutes from your day to isolate yourself a little bit. Just spend some time with yourself. Think, or take a journal and just write. Think about, what am I bringing into my life? What habits do I have right now? And determine if it's serving you into becoming the person that you want to be in this world. Remember, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not. Successful people are willing to take the time and to continue on with their daily routine, with their habit, than unsuccessful people who just start it and then end up stopping later on. Having daily routines built on good habits and sticking to them. Many start, but very few finish. And the few that finish are those successful people that continue and were consistent and stuck it through than the majority of. Who are you going to start being today? It's your choice. The ball is in your court. It's always been in your court. It's always been in my court. It's just a matter of picking up the ball and making that shot. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in for another video with me. It's our second video so far. If you haven't watched the first video on mindset, go ahead and check it out because they all tie in with each other. So it's better to get in all the blessing and the goodness. So to end the video, I just want you guys to kiss your heart and kiss your mind, because your mind and your body are the most valuable assets that you possess. And so I just want you guys to remember to be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that's why you have to start with yourself. I have to start with myself. That's why I'm sharing this video with you on what I've learned, so that you guys can grow with me. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.